We are today going to predict the 26-man roster for the St. Louis Cardinals. I hope you are ready for this. And I put some work into this. I'm not going to lie. I was going back and forth from fan graphs to the spring training, trying to figure out who exactly is going to make the roster. And there are some obvious ones. And I'll just kind of get those guys out of the way right now. I mean, at starting pitcher, let's just go through the list, right? If Sonny Gray is healthy, he's obviously going to make the team, but I think the most obvious Sonny Gray replacement is going to be Zach Thompson. So, and I think Zach Thompson should make this team anyway. So I'm gonna leave Zach Thompson in there for now, and Sonny Gray as one because it's a real possibility that Sonny Gray does start the season on the 10-day IL. Miles Michaelis, Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynch, Steven Matz, I believe all make the roster. So we're up to five. Let's go to the relief pitchers. Ryan Helsley, locked and loaded, obviously. Giovanni Gallegos, Andrew Kittredge, Kenyon Middleton, even though he's coaching a basketball team right now. Jojo Romero. And now it gets interesting. So those five, I believe, are locked in. And these are the three that I think are going to make the roster based on how they're doing in the spring, based on what I'm seeing on fan graphs. I think the Cardinals like Andre Palante a lot. Andre Palante is having a pretty good spring. He's only pitched in 6 games, but he's only given up one earned run. He's given up 5 hits. He's walked 2 guys, but I think that's good enough. I think Riley O'Brien's done enough to prove that he deserves a major league roster spot. He's a hard flame throwing guy, and he's done pretty well this spring. He's pitched in 6 games, and he's given up one earned run. He's given up 6 hits, 2 walks. He struck out 5. So Riley O'Brien, I think, earns a spot in the bullpen. And then the last member of the bullpen, I think the Cardinals are going to keep 8 in their bullpen, is Ryan Fernandez. And Ryan Fernandez, if you don't remember, is the guy that they selected in the Rule 5 draft. Let's move to the position groups. At first base, or first let's start with catcher. I think it's pretty locked and loaded that Wilson Contreras and Ivan Herrera are going to be catcher and backup catcher on the St. Louis Cardinals. And then you move to first base. Paul Goldschmidt, pretty safe to say he's going to make the team. Brendan Donovan, Nolan Gorman at second base, Mason Wynn, Brandon Crawford at shortstop, at third base, Nolan Arenado, and in the outfield. And here's where the situation gets tricky. And of course, Matt Carpenter is going to make this team. I have him listed as a DH. That takes us to 22 guys. 22 guys. And I'm not even leaving room for Zach Thompson. But you have to have 4 outfielders. You have to have 3 and then a backup outfielder. So we know Jordan Walker is going to make the team. It looks like Alec Burleson is going to have to make this team, at least initially, the way he's hitting in spring. And with the Lars Nootbaar and Tommy Edmond injuries, I think he's gonna have to play. So I have Alec Burleson making the team. And then Dylan Carlson, I think, is going to make the team. But then that still leaves one spot. I just don't know how you leave Victor Scott off of this team right now, the way that he's playing. I'll just give you some stats if you haven't been following along. Victor Scott, again, in 30 at-bats, it's a limited sample size. It's spring training. I get it. But he's 11 for 30. He's hitting 367. His on-base percentage is 457. His OPS is 890. He's drawn 4 walks. He has 4 stolen bases, and he's hit a triple. This guy's an electric playmaker in the outfield. And I just don't know at this point. I mean, it's when you're choosing between him because of these injuries, and you might sit him down and say, all right, Victor Scott. And I saw an old clip of, I guess it was the St. Louis Cardinals' old general manager talking to Vince Coleman, and I got a kick out of this. Like, the general manager said, hey, Vince, you're only going to be up here for 4 or 5 days. And Vince Coleman apparently told him, no. I was like, okay, yes, sir, but I'm not going to be going back down to AAA. And I hope that's what Victor Scott does. I hope Victor Scott forces their hand, because God, is he a fun player to watch. Man, oh man, like, I am so sick. And like, this is nothing against him personally, but I'm kind of sick. I'm kind of over Dylan Carlson, if I'm being honest. I think it's probably time for the Cardinals to move on from him, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I just the way Dylan Carlson's playing in the spring, it's just another block. I mean, he struck out 9 times and 30 at bats. He's only hitting 233. He did hit a home run the other day, but just there is no, like, all the excitement that we had for Dylan Carlson, and again, we could be falling into another trap with Victor Scott, but he has some traits that you just go, wow. And the first thing is obviously the speed. The speed is just off the charts good. It's going to be a problem for opposing pitchers. It propels him in the outfield as a defender. He's a plus defender in the outfield. The question, and we all know what he can do on the bases. The question is going to be, can he hit at the major league level? And that's a big question. And I would totally understand if the Cardinals kept him down in the minor leagues. The problem is Tommy Edman's hurt. Lars Nootbaar's hurt. What are you going to do? Are you really going to play Michael Ciani? Is that the route you're going to go? Because that's what Fangraphs has projected right now, is that Michael Ciani is your fourth outfielder. And the Cardinals claimed him off waivers from the Reds. So I guess that's the direction they could go, but man, I the way that Victor Scott has been playing this spring, it's gonna be tough to leave him off of this roster, especially with the pathway that we've been talking about all off season long. I made a video about this. I don't even remember how long ago, that Victor Scott has superstar potential in this league. Is he going to hit 30, 40 home runs? No, he's not that type of player, but he's a throwback to the 85 Cardinals. He's a throwback to those 80s teams where, or I guess the 82 team where I mean, I got the bobblehead right here behind me, the 1982 World Series champion. Like, he's a throwback player that just is going to be so exciting for fans to watch. And like I said, I would understand if the Cardinals decided to leave him in the minor leagues. Would I be disappointed? Yes, I probably would be, because I want to watch Victor Scott play baseball. And I would prefer to watch him play baseball with the St. Louis Cardinals, and to see that, to give him that opportunity, at least to see if he's ready, to see if he can compete at the major league level. The upside is off the charts. He has way more upside than Dylan Carlson. He has way more upside than any Michael Ciani or anybody else that you want to throw out there that could potentially come up and fill this role for the Cardinals until Tommy Edman comes back and until Lars Nootbaar comes back. And then you got to ask yourself, okay, how long is Tommy Edman going to be out? How long is he going to be out? And if Dylan Carlson gets off to a slow start, even if Victor Scott is put in the minor leagues, how long are they going to wait before they bring him up? Some other options out there, Matt Koperniak, I don't see him making the roster. I mean, he's another option, I suppose. And I talked about Michael Ciani. Michael Ciani's not having the greatest spring. He's hitting 208, 24 at bats, 5 hits, 5 for 24. Does have a triple. He's walked 7 times, so his on base percentage is pretty good. And again, all this is a very, very small sample size, but I think Victor Scott's going to make the roster. I think he's going to force their hand, but I want to know what you think. So that's my 26-man roster for the St. Louis Cardinals. Again, I'll just briefly recap it here. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe the video. At starting pitcher, we have Miles Michaelis, Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn, Steven Matz, Sonny Gray, or Zach Thompson. Relief pitchers, Ryan Helsley, Gallegos, Kittredge, Romero, Middleton, Palante, Riley O'Brien, Ryan Fernandez. And I guess they would put Zach Thompson in the bullpen or keep him as a 6th option. And maybe that means you send Riley O'Brien or Andre Palante down to the minor leagues. So that's an option. That's probably what I would do, but who knows? We'll see what they do. At catcher, Wilson Contreras, Ivan Herrera. At first base, Paul Goldschmidt. At second base, Brendan Donovan, Nolan Gorman. At shortstop, Mason Wynn, Brandon Crawford. At third base, Nolan Arenado. In the outfield, Jordan Walker, Dylan Carlson, Alec Burleson. And yes, we're going with Victor Scott. And at DH, Matt Carpenter. But let me know what you think in the comments. Who do you think is going to make the opening day roster for the St. Louis Cardinals? And guess what? We're 2 weeks away from baseball. I don't care that the Cardinals front office frustrates me basically all the time, and their unwillingness to go above and beyond to put just a World Series contending team on the field. They should have done it yesterday. They should have done it a week ago. They should. We all know that they should do it. They should go out and sign Jordan Montgomery. I'm talking to you, John Mozeliak. Go out there and get him. Build a wit. Like how much? Like do we have to start a GoFundMe so we can have a competent pitching staff? If Sonny Gray's out, do we have to do this? What do we got to do? What do we got to do to get one of these guys with the St. Louis Cardinals? You let me know in the comments. Like what are we doing? What are we doing? It's a 1-year deal, okay? I know the Valley contract might be. I know it's hairy. I know it's a hairy situation, but let's bring Jordan Montgomery back. Let's do that, and you let me know in the comments if this is a terrible idea, because I don't see how it is. And that still doesn't put you over 200 million. That still doesn't put you over the luxury tax. So let's go get Jordan Montgomery. Let's bring him back to St. Louis. If he doesn't want to come, let's go get Blake Snell. What's wrong with that? Anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.